The Galaxy S23 Ultra, one of the most anticipated smartphones of 2023, is finally here. If you prefer to avoid the cutting edge, the Samsung Galaxy S23 is most likely the phone for you. The Samsung Galaxy S22 series this year wowed us with its excellent, refined design, solid performance, and rebirth of the Note series. Well, you want to know more? Let's get moving. Even though the design of the Samsung Galaxy S22 and S22 Plus did not differ significantly from that of their S21 predecessors, the Galaxy S22 Ultra brought back a revised version of Note 20 for a new generation. We expect very few changes between these 2 years when the S23 debuts next year, though the two smaller models, to use that term loosely, will likely take some inspiration from their big brother. Let's start with the design of the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which is the most powerful of the three smartphones and also the most similar to the previous one. The S23 Ultra appears nearly unchanged in early renders, right down to its unique camera lineup on the back. The differences are visible if you look closely enough. The phone is slightly less curvy than last year's model, and the distance between the lenses has been reduced. The camera bump that has become synonymous with the S series in recent years has been replaced by a replica of the protruding lenses from the S22 Ultra. It's a shame to see that design go. It was one of Samsung's best performances in years. However, it makes sense to base all three phones on the same design. The S23 Ultra appears to be available in the standard colors, with one notable exception. In addition to black, green, and light pink, Samsung intends to replace the classic white color with a beige model. Regardless of color, it's clear that anyone hoping for a complete redesign in 2023 will be a great shift. In terms of the chipset, there's been a surprising amount of buzz surrounding something that, in theory, shouldn't be too complicated. Typically, Samsung relies on Qualcomm's latest flagship processor in most of the world, with an ever-shrinking number of regions receiving an in-house Exynos chip. Although reports suggest that Samsung intends to reintroduce its own silicone, this does not appear to be the case this year. Early S23 rumors suggested that the company would stick with Qualcomm, in this case, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, potentially for all markets, a theory that gained credence when the two companies extended their partnership this summer. When it comes to battery life, you may notice a significant improvement. A 200 mAh increase to the S23's battery, in addition to a power-efficient chip in the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, could make a significant difference in day-to-day use. While it's unknown what the Ultra will receive, the S23 is expected to receive a larger battery, with a capacity increase of up to 4,700 mAh. The rumored 200-megapixel camera on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is big news for the device. Although we don't expect the sensor to be much larger than that of other phones on the market, a 1 by 1.3 inch, it's still an impressive number. This camera may also use an unreleased ISOCELL HP2 sensor, rather than the ISOCELL HP1 found in Motorola's recent Edge 30 Ultra. Meanwhile, the S23 Ultra appears to retain the 10-megapixel telephoto lens from last year's model. Given that the camera modules on both phones appear to be identical, we're not surprised to see some continuity between generations. Expect plenty of improvements regardless of how familiar the physical sensors are, with machine learning and software optimizations nearly as important to photo performance as actual hardware these days. The S23 is expected to be released in the first quarter of the year, as is typical for Samsung's S-series devices. If you're impatient, or if your phone is nearing the end of its life and you're counting down the days until an upgrade, there's some good news. The most recent rumors about the S23's launch cycle indicate that it will arrive earlier than last year. According to reports, Samsung's next flagship phones could be unveiled as early as the middle of January, not long after CES in Las Vegas concludes. That's a piece of good news for potential buyers. Also, if you want proof that the Galaxy S23 Ultra will be released in February 2023, a battery for a phone matching the description appeared for certification with the South Korean agency in early September. We've only recently learned that Samsung may be aiming for a mid-January release date for the S23. According to sources, this will hopefully prevent users from upgrading to non-Samsung phones right after the new year. One slightly shaky rumor also appears to support this, with one Korean mobile carrier allegedly opening registration for pre-orders in December. In any case, the Galaxy S23 is expected to arrive in early 2023. Phone release dates are fairly predictable these days, and we don't expect Samsung to deviate from this trend, even though the coronavirus pandemic and chip shortages have resulted in some delayed phone launches in recent memory. One thing is obvious: there's still time for more leaks as we near the end of the year, so stay tuned for more information on the Samsung Galaxy S23 in the coming weeks. Well, with that said, what do you think about this video? For more exciting and informative videos, keep watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more.